Good evening. Am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Namaskar. Shoshagatam. A very good evening to all of you. Welcome to the webinar presented by the Department of Botany and the Internal Quality Assurance Cell IQAC of Charuchandra College, Kolkata. Please let me tell you that it is raining outside in most of the parts of Greater Calcutta. So if there is any network problem or signal drop, please bear with us. The webinar topic this evening is Urban and Mangrove Plantation, a post-Amphan introspection. The topic is very much pertinent as the super cyclone Amphan in the month of May had devastated the vegetation in Sundarbans, in Kolkata, and also the neighboring districts. So it is very much important for us to find the way out. And of course, all of us are stuck at home and jeopardized by an unprecedented pandemic. So it's really a very trying time. We are away from our institutes, colleagues, and most importantly, from our students. Webinars bring the opportunity to interact with each other and to get refreshed again. We are extremely happy that a lot of faculty members, researchers, and students have joined on this webinar through the YouTube platform. Thanks to YouTube and StreamYard. Though it was proposed to be a state level webinar, but we have got responses from all across the country. Please make it a success and press the like button. This evening on the webinar panel, I am pleased to announce we have among us Dr. Suparna Sen, the IQAC coordinator, and two very distinguished invited guests and experts, Professor Amol Kumar Mondol, Professor of Botany, Vidyasagar University, and Dr. Basant Kumar Singh, Botanical Assistant and Researcher, Botanical Survey of India. Also, there is Dr. Rita Paul, who is my departmental colleague as joint convener. But unfortunately, our teacher in charge, Professor Anuradha Ghosh of Charuchandra College, who is supposed to be here, but presently he is on an emergency work at college. So she will join later. Now I would like to request Dr. Rita Pal to convey the welcome message given by the Professor Anuradha Ghosh Madam, the teacher in charge of Charuchandra College. Please, Dr. Rita Pal.
On behalf of everyone at Charuchandra College, I welcome all those of you who have joined today's webinar. As it is, we all are living in fear because of pandemic ranging throughout the world over and above a tornado Amphan, last over south of Bengal, especially over the Sundarbans. We in Calcutta felt the gale on a much lesser scale, yet were aghast by the aftermath. Thousands of trees were uprooted, blocking thoroughfares the lanes alike. We could well imagine the devastation it caused, where its impact was the most. Well, today's topic deals with how to restore those areas on its pristine glory post-Amphan. This was the message of our teacher in charge, Professor Anuradha Ghosh.
Thank you, Madam, for her welcoming message. Though she was not present here, but she will join soon. But now I would like to request Dr. Supana Sen, the IQAC coordinator, to deliver her keynote address. Please, Madam.
On behalf of IQAC Charuchandra College, I once again extend a very warm welcome to our esteemed speaker, Professor Amol Kumar Mondol of Vidyasagar University and Dr. Basant Kumar Singh of Indian Botanic Institute, BSI. They will be speaking on a very important and relevant topic, as has been mentioned before, urban and mangrove plantation, a post-Amphan introspection. There is nothing new as such to say. We are all aware of the havoc that the super cyclone Amphan created and causing innumerable trees were uprooted and causing great damage to life and property. So the situation in the Sundarbans was particularly pathetic, and something has to be done immediately and is in fact being done. Afforestation and plantation of mangrove plantation has to be undertaken immediately and on a very large scale. So our esteemed speakers will enlighten us on how this is being done and to what extent. Without any further ado, I would welcome the speakers once again and ask them to enlighten us on the topic.
Thank you very much, Madam. Thank you very much for the welcome and keynote address. Now we are ready for the first invited lecture. But before his lecture, though he doesn't need any introduction, but please formally let me introduce our first invited speaker. Professor Amol Kumar Mondol is presently Professor of Botany and Coordinator of UGC DRS SAP and DBT Boost projects at Vidyasagar University. In his more than 30 years of significant research contribution, he has published more than 235 research papers, several books and book chapters, and has guided more than 12 PhD dissertations. He is recipient of many awards and fellowship, fellow of many acclaimed, fellow of highly acclaimed Linnean Society of London, and he very recently has got the SBER honorary fellowship. His works on biodiversity, mangroves, dye-yielding plants, fiber-yielding plants, hemiparasitic taxa, soil-binding plants, and digital herbaria are hugely significant. He is just the right person to talk on today's topic. His topic is, can replantation of trees give a second lease of life to the biodiversity of Sundarbans and Kolkata in the post-Amphan scenario, a matter of debate. Over to our first speaker, Professor Mondal. Sir, please. Sir, please unmute.
Thank you, Dr. Suman Das and other faculty members of Charuchandra College, Department of Botany, and the IQ cell convener also, and respected principal of this college. Thank you for giving me this opportunity and a relevant topic. Thanks to Sumon and his colleague for special emphasis of this topic, because we are all botanists, are basically either in our subject or in biodiversity or in pollution, but it is a significant topic after Amphan scenario. So I am trying my level best to uh, subsidize all the matters related with Amphan. And am I audible? And visible my slide?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So my topic, already told by Dr. Suman, is a dynamic person of this college department also. Can replantation of trees give a second lapse of life to the biodiversity of Sundarbans and Kolkata in the post-Amphan scenario? A matter of debate. So I'll start with this quote. And previously, I have divided my lecture into 7 phases: biodiversity status of Kolkata, biodiversity status of Sundarban, about Amphan cyclone, role of mangroves, post-Amphan scenario, plantation, replantation, and concluding remarks. Now I start a quote. Kolkata can be considered a brown city in green background. Now, why I say this, let me justify. Hacking of full-grown trees without compensatory plantation has been the order of the day in the city. It has left a yawning gap between demand and supply, and has been the biggest contribution to Kolkata's graying landscape. A recent satellite picture analysis has revealed that Kolkata's green cover has dipped to an extremely unhealthy 4.79%, an indicator to the damage that is gradually going out of hands. The minimum requirement for an Indian city is 15%. According to the National Commission on Urbanization, open spaces in Kolkata has been vanishing fast as well. Less than 1% of city space now remains vacant. Compared to Kolkata, the green cover in Delhi 19.09%, and in Mumbai 18% is much higher, whereas the national average stands at 19.49%. Apart from habitat destruction, our conservation strategies also are to be blamed. The rich ecological background of the city is now is not elucidated properly and seems to be inadequately addressed during the preparation of the master plan. Over a small number of Kolkatas, many natural areas are protected and are mostly disconnected. The indicators related to governance and management have shown that the concept of biodiversity is still relatively unfamiliar to planners, academicians, and professionals. Hence, planning policies seem to be failing to achieve the desired levels of biodiversity integration. Located on the eastern bank of River Hooghly, Kolkata, the capital of the state of West Bengal and the third largest city of India, once bestward with rich biological diversity and efficient natural system. Within the city, it is considered to be an environmentally subsidized city. Located within the floodplains of Lower Gangetic Delta, Kolkata is naturally gifted with rivers, canals, wetlands, water bodies, and lush tropical landscape. The East Kolkata wetland is an important site, that is Ramsar site. Basically, it's called kidney of Kolkata, serves multiple ecological functions, acting as the city's wastewater sink while adding to urban resilience by preventing induced flooding, maintaining the groundwater tables, regulating the nutrient cycle and microclimate, and home to a diverse variety of flora and fauna. These natural wetlands spread over 12,500 hectares on the eastern side of city of Kolkata. Is now recognized as a Ramsar site and is known to be one of the largest wastewater feed aquaculture system in the world, providing fishing opportunities for locals and supporting paddy and vegetable cultivation in small plots. So these are a few pictures of East Kolkata wetland, basically the Ramsar site. The pre-Amphan scenario of Kolkata. Kolkata had reported a reasonably rich biodiversity, mainly because of this natural heritage. 69 plant species naturalized at neighborhood of the city, and 61 plant species are designated endemic. 6 species are from North America, Malaysia, and Africa, and 20 plant species, native species, different parts of India, and 41 plant species are indigenous plant species. A.P. Benthal's monumental book, Trees of Calcutta and its Neighborhood, Benthal's provided an excellent account of as many as 276 species of trees. Sure. The indigenous varieties include Ficus bengalensis, Ficus religiosa, Ficus hispida, Mangifera indica, Acacia arabica, Syzygium cumini, Putrangiva oxfortiana as a Didecta indica. These are the pictures of the. Apart from trees, Kolkata has been reported to have more than 230 species of birds, 667 species of plants, and 110 species of butterflies. My student, Dr. Saurabh Duari, and myself has a tremendous work on butterfly, both the district Kolkata entire and in Howrah. These are some pictures of butterflies, beautiful butterflies from Kolkata. And the biodiversity of Kolkata, representing plant species 667, amphibian 12, reptile 40, butterflies 110, and bird 230. Percentage of biodiversity of Kolkata, plant species 63%, bird 22%, butterfly 10%, reptile 4%, and a little bit of amphibian 1%. So like many other cities, Kolkata also suffer from urban environmental challenges of biodiversity loss, deforestation, pollution, land use changes, over-exploitation and natural systems, resulting in their deterioration, thus limiting the benefits of urban infrastructure. The City Biodiversity Index, CBI, also known as the Singapore Index, has been used as a tool to assess the current biodiversity status in the city of Kolkata. The index taken intermittently after regular intervals may be used to observe the improvement of their observation against their own individual baseline and signify the progress of the city in the path of sustainable development. For assessing the proportion of natural areas, satellite images are digitized and data matched with those available from the existing land use map. These are the different types of parameters for for determination of Singapore index. Year of development has led to changes in the species diversity. The data from a survey conducted by Dr. S. Ghosh and her team from 2006 to 2010 revealed that at least 21% of the species have disappeared from the cityscape within a span of 75 years. Although the total tree species diversity has increased from 276 to 294, but if compared with that of Benthal, it shows that 58 of the 276 species have disappeared from the city's landscape, of which 12 were indigenous species. Some 76 species have been introduced in the same period, which gives a total of 103 indigenous species and 80 exotic species. The removed species are Tamarix gallica, Garcinia gawa, Pterospermum subarifolium, Bruyia glabra, Sapindus, Sesbania, Erythrina, and so on. These are the pictures. Times of India has reported Kolkata losses 58 tree species in 60 years. The city has lost a chunk of its glenary, is stale news. But do you know that it has lost several species of trees over the last 60 years? A survey of the city's green cover has revealed that 12 indigenous species are among those that have gone locally extinct. The loss is an irreparable one to the city's biodiversity that is already under strain, according to experts. The most beautiful flowering trees, jacaranda, are sporadically present in Kolkata city, but now has gradually declined their vegetation from our city, Kolkata. Loss of glenary from the environment of the city has resulted in the habitat loss of many species of wildlife and microfauna. Noticeable among them are birds like Pallas, filling eagle, and vultures are no longer seen due to the absence of large, tall trees appropriate for nesting. A large population of gull was regularly seen in the Base Bridge wetland. Wagtail and people roasting in the emergent vegetation were also seen. Since such areas have been cleared, they have been deprived of their roosting site. In the Alipur Zoological Garden, a few pairs of darter were found in the 1980s, but they are no longer there. Common wood strike was seen in Chintamani Kor Bird Sanctuary in large number, but now they are seen no more. This is the Chintamani Bird Sanctuary. Few photographs taking myself. House crow and black kite increased the population. What is the reason? Possibly due to the accumulation of garbage in the city. The migratory water birds that used to visit the city's zoological gardens have now moved away to another water body a few kilometers away from the city, probably due to the high-rise buildings around the zoo, paving of the banks, as well as an increase in vehicular traffic causing noise and air pollution. Thus, many birds that were visible in the last century have been found to be vulnerable and locally extinct at present. So, how the mangrove of Sundarban have protected Kolkata? Estimation of mangroves and mangrove area in the Indian subcontinent. About 65%, you can say lion's share, by Sundarban mangrove, and rest of the percentage like Andaman Nicobar, Mahanadi Delta, Krishna Godavari, and Karnataka, Goa, Kerala, Lakshadweep. So Sundarban have the lion's share of mangrove. This coastal or estuarine vegetation, along with its wide-spreading roots and unique habitats, play a physical support and protective roles in these coastal estuarine zones in the tropical and subtropical countries in the globe in general, and the Indian mangroves in particular. Mangrove we can call also the mangroves. That's why I have introduced this term mangroves. So this is actually the total map of Sundarban, the area. This is actually the buffer zone. This is actually the core zone of Sundarban. The Sundarban Mangrove Forest, a World Heritage Site, is one of the largest single chunk of mangrove forest in the world, that is 140,000 hectares. This heritage site lies on the delta of the Ganga, Brahmaputra and Meghna rivers on the Bay of Bengal between 21°13' north and 22°40' north latitude and 88°3' east to 89°7' east. Overall, the Sundarban mangrove covers approximately 10,200 kilometers square spread over India and Bangladesh. The Sundarban Reserve Forest comprises mainly saline alluvial soil consisting of clay, silt, fine sand, and coarse and sand particles. Abyssinia marina, Abyssinia alba, Abyssinia officinalis are the dominating mangrove found in the Sundarban. Several other species are also available in this ecosystem, such as Agiletis rotundifolia, Heritaria forms. We know that it is Sundari plants. That's why this place is also called Sundarban. Sonaricia patala, Gylocarpus granatum, and Phoenix peludosa. These are the pictures of some mangrove, relevant mangrove plant. Barik in 2017 and his team explained that the mangrove species distribution depends on the salinity regime. Each mangrove species has optimal salinity range for its preferred habitat. This preference as well as its tolerance level may alter with the changing environmental regime. Apart from environmental factors, the microbial community associated with the subsequent mangrove has a major effect on their overall health. Various research work show that there is a specific interaction between endophytes and mangrove host plants, extensive metagenomic studies are required to have a complete understanding of the functioning and resilience of mangroves in the Sundarbans. The plant communities in the Sundarban mangrove forest vary in the three distinct ecological zones: oligohaline, mesohaline, and polyhaline zones. These are some plants named mangrove, which are categorically designated oligohaline, mesohaline, and polyhaline zones respectively. The biodiversity status of Sundarban, according to the studies of Professor David Brain and few researchers, the mangrove in most part of the world are characterized by member of the Rhizophoriaceae, Avicennaceae, or Combretaceae. The mangrove of Bangladesh are dominated by the Malvaceae and Euphorbiaceae, comprising 51 families, 245 genera, and 334 species are inhabited in entire Sundarban. Percentage of distribution of mangrove plant species in Sundarban. 50% mangrove are distributed sporadically, 32% distributed very much specific zone, and 18% mangrove uniformly distributed throughout Sundarban. Among these true mangroves, 4 species are vulnerable, already designated by IUCN. 2 species are called endangered. Mangroves, 11 species are in rare, and one only found, that is Acrostica in Sundarban. Floristic composition among these 2 species I have already told are endangered, that is Nipa puticans and Heritaria forms. 4 species are vulnerable, that is Bugaria sexagula, Bugaria cylindrica, Candelia candel, and Sonaracea casularis. 11 species are rare, and only one fern, that is Acrosticum. This is the Nipa puticans, and this is actually the Acrosticum, only one fern. The forest inventories revealed a decline in standing volume of 2 main commercial mangrove species, Sundari heritaria and Grua, that is Exocaria agalocha, by 40% and 45% respectively, due to the different types of natural calamities and anthropogenic activities and variability of salinity. Despite a total ban on all killing of capture of wildlife other than fish and some invertebrate, it appears that there is a consistent pattern of depleted biodiversity or loss of species, notably at least 6 mammals and 1 important reptile in the 20th century, and that the ecological quality of the original mangrove forest is now gradually declining. This is actually Sundari plants, Heritaria forms, and it's the flower of Heritaria forms. The Sundarban West Wildlife Sanctuary is a UNESCO designated World Heritage Site. The region supports mangroves, including spurs, stands of Gruya, Excocaria agalocha, dense stands of Goran, that is Cereops tegal, with discontinuous patches of hetal plant, Phoenix peludosa, on their drier ground and river banks. The Sundarban protect coastal areas. So why mangroves are key to climate resilience? The key highlights are several studies have shown that mangroves play a crucial role in protecting coastal communities from the impact of large storms. It has been found through that mangroves with their mass of roots that rise up from shallow water can soak up some of the energy of a storm surge. Other studies have shown that mangroves are far more effective in capturing carbon permanently than terrestrial forest. It has been found that mangrove with their maze of roots that rise up from shallow water can soak up some of the energy of a storm surge, aiding in the effective protection of coastal communities from increased cyclone damage. These two photographs is a deep root system and all are in pneumatophores. This is the typical mangrove plants from Sundarban. I have visited several times, and different types of pneumatophores depends upon their species. These are the pictures of pneumatophores, split roots. The Sundarban is believed to be the worst struck by the cyclone. The Sundarban is an ecologically fragile system, but it has served to safeguard tens of thousands of families over the years, bearing the brunt of cyclone. By some estimates, the sea level has risen by an average of 3 centimeters a year for the last 20 years in the Sundarban. Climate change is not just characterized by raising global temperature, but also raising frequencies and strength of extreme weather events such as cyclone, typhoons, and hurricanes. Several studies have shown that mangroves play crucial roles in protecting coastal communities from the impact of large storms. One needs only look to cyclone Fani, the most powerful cyclone to rock eastern India in over 20 years, as evidence of the impact of changing climate. This is actually phenomena of Fani, the effect of Fani. These are the few mangroves. The paved path leads to the channel water of the Sundarban. Much of this locally built infrastructure has been destroyed after the strong surge. A couple returns home after catching fish during the high tide near a small village called Labdov, Sundarbans. In some areas of Sundarban, women collect shrimp larvae during a low tide. Fishing is one of the main livelihoods of the region. Our study team, entire research team with my student, special paper student, taxonomy and molecular systematics. So post-Amphan scenario. The history of cyclone in West Bengal, starting from 1970 to 2020. There are several cyclone storms, hurricanes, but significant cyclones are that is Amphan. It's 20th May 2020. A tropical super cyclone ravaged coastal Bengal, Odisha, and parts of Bangladesh on 20th May. Kolkata, along with coastal parts of West Bengal, were the worst affected, with lakhs rendered homeless and shelterless, huge agricultural and cropless, and thousands of trees damaged, destroyed, and uprooted. This is actually the direction of Amphan. The Sundarban, the world, I have already told it is world largest mangrove forest and UNESCO heritage site, is believed to be the worst struck by the cyclone. Winds blowing at over 150 to 170 kilometers slant into the Sundarban by the time the cyclone had made landfall, causing widespread damage to embankments around the sea, around this area. So this is the effect of Amphan. Few photographs. Sundarban as internationally famous biodiversity hotspot and a UNESCO heritage site could never quite recover from a series of smaller and severe disasters since 2009. These are the few photographs after Amphan. Cyclone Amphan, gazing at 170 km/h, was by far more intense than Ayla, the pebble cyclone that struck the same coast on May 25, 2009, with a wind speed of 110 km/h. Both the cyclones have been particularly harsh on the Sundarban region in West Bengal. While Ayla disseminated the archipelago spread across 6,000 square kilometers, Amphan has virtually raised it this time. Cyclone Amphan ravages mangrove, covering about 40% of Sundarban. Nearly 1,600 square kilometers of mangrove area out of 400 square kilometers has been destroyed by the cyclone Amphan, which accounts for nearly 40% of the total mangrove area, making environmentalists worry about the future of the area. Damage to the mangrove means serious hazards to the lives and livelihoods of people living in and around the Sundarbans. This is the after effect of Sundarban, few photographs. Crab catcher Yudhishthar Mondal explained the crippling effect of cyclone Amphan hitting during the coronavirus lockdown. We are now facing another pandemic, that is COVID-19. Amphan uprooted and tore apart thousands of trees, including in the city of Kolkata and Sundarban mangrove forest. Why we need to protect Sundarban mangrove more than ever? These are the pictures after Amphan. Kolkata not spared from Amphan. 20th May 2020, you may call it a black day, black evening also. Amphan caused irreversible damage to city's biodiversity. Finally changes Kolkata's plantation policy with species emphasis on cyclone Amphan's damage to Sundarban mangrove diversity. As cyclone Amphan uprooted more than 15,000 trees in Kolkata, about 3,000 plants in Rajarhat and Newtown areas. It has also destroyed the entire biodiversity, both flora and fauna of the city. Thousands of birds and millions of insects died during the storm, and the environmentalists say it would take years for Kolkata to get back its former biodiversity. Few pictures from Kolkata after Amphan effect. And now West Bengal government calls in army to help restore services. The damage still remains unquantified, but locals say that this is the worst cyclone to hit the region in the last 300 years. Kolkata greens post-Amphan. Amphan and loss of green cover. With over 5,000 trees lost or damaged out of approximately 5 lakhs in Kolkata alone, the task to urban green restoration is greatly challenging. And most of the trees that fell were very old and fully grown and had a large canopy. In Ravindra Sarovar, known for its long stretch of uninterrupted green cover, over 200 trees have been lost due to devastating cyclone Amphan. It will take about 10 to 15 years to get back some of the green cover that was lost in the cyclone Amphan. The Maidan, known as the lung of the city, has a rich history that extends over 2 centuries. Though a cyclone as devastating as Amphan, Maidan was also not spared. Acharya Jagadish Chandra Bose Indian Botanical Garden, my next speaker, Dr. Singh, will deliver entire botanical garden with the effect of Amphan. So I am just taking 1 or 2 slides for after effect of Amphan. The great banyan tree, which the Botanical Survey of India uses as its logo at the Acharya Jagadish Chandra Bose Indian Botanic Garden, was spread over 4.67 acres. Even during cyclones Phoni and Bulbul, no major harm was done to it. But this time, it has been severely damaged. Serious efforts are on the hill to the tree. There are other rare trees which have been uprooted in the garden. The tree had lost its main trunk to 2 cyclones in 1864 and 1867. Reported by Indian.com 23rd/5/2020. Apart from the most attractive and most visited tree, the 273-acre botanic garden set up in 1787 with over 13,000 plants and 1,100 species has lost other significant inhabitants. Of its thousands of trees, more than 1,000 have been damaged and hundreds have been uprooted. The only fully grown Kalpavriksha, that is Adansonia digitata, and mad tree, that is Pterogata alata, var irregularis, got uprooted. Besides these, the Pararavar, that is Hevia basilensis, Pachia aquatica, and Pinus roxburghi, and several century-old mahogany tree, that is Swietenia mahogany, in the garden's famous Mahogany Avenue, along with Olea cuspidata, known as wild olive, brown olive, or Indian olive, were also extensively damaged, reported by the Hindu 24/5/2020. These are the Kalpavriksha, Adansonia digitata. This is mad tree. This is great banyan tree. This is Malabar chestnut, Pachira aquatica. This is mahogany tree. This is Olea cuspidata. This is Ravindra Sarovar on pictures. This is the Pongamia pinnata. This is actually Alstonia scholaris, neem. Post-Amphan scenario, in Kolkata, post-Amphan minus the large tree cover, Kolkata will inevitably face drastic rise in pollution level. According to environmentalists, more than 10,000 trees have been lost, which played significant roles in improving the urban air quality and carbon sequestration. Large trees are excellent filter for urban pollutants and fine particulate. They absorb pollutant gases like carbon monoxide, nitrogen oxide, ozone, sulfur oxide, filter fine particles such as dust, dirt, or smoke out of the air by trapping them on leaves and bark. Post of COVID-19 lockdown, when the traffic pressure increases, there will be drastic increase in PM 2.5 reported by the Hindustan Times 24/5/2020. As Kolkata rebuilds its green cover, it must ensure flawless urban planning, efficient and scientific tree management, and accurate species selection. Amphan affects about 5 crore mangroves to be planted in the Sundarban. Our Honorable Chief Minister have already been declared the planting of mangrove was a very significant move, and on June 5th, marked as World Environment Day, the West Bengal government decided to plant 5 crore mangrove trees in the Sundarban in order to make up for the damage caused by the cyclone Amphan. The areas where the cyclone has hit will be rebuilt with new mangrove plantation. But it is difficult in a terrestrial plantation and in mangrove plant plantation. Because mangrove plants has take enough time for development a large tree. So it is difficult, but it is a good gesture from our government to ensure about 5 crore mangrove plants, and this is the first time in West Bengal and in India such type of massive step taken by our government. This is the picture, previous pictures. It is the devastating picture after Amphan. Innovation at the heart of the world largest mangrove restoration program in the world. Degradation mangrove forest before and after restoration. Plus, mangrove plantation is just started. So what to be done in Kolkata? Replantation of uprooted trees or plantation of new saplings? Wrong selection of plants and poor urban planning is largely responsible for the loss of maximum number of trees from entire Kolkata and adjoining areas. There are overhead wires and cable to which the branches got enmeshed and entangled, as well as underground water lines, electrical wires, cable lines, gas line, and sewage line. So the trees planted on pavement did not have had a strong base. Besides, the selection of the tree species was not right. The top heavy trees like banyan, ashoka, neem, royal poinciana, copperpot, peepal, cassia fistula, also called amultas, were used to line avenue. Since proper distance was not maintained between trees, the roots never went too deep. These are the pictures. Strategies for green restoration is the last page of your today's topic of state level seminar. The most important criteria of choosing the right tree species is safety. A roadside tree should be sturdy enough to withstand the storms in the area. Post-storm, it should remain upright, and the branches also need to be intact. The second safety requirement is a straight trunk and adequate ground clearance. Shallow root system can be problematic for trees near pavement. For obvious reason, thorny plants are also unsuitable for Kolkata city. Among individuals of a species, trees that are taller, have larger crowns, less dense woody grown in more exposed sites, or are in poor health, infected by pathogen, drought, stress, or with high liner road are more likely to be severely damaged by cyclone, reported by Lin et al. 2020. Among individual of a species, trees that are taller, have larger crowns, less dense wood, grow in more exposed sites, or rare in poor health and infected by different types of fungi, root-rotting fungi, drought stress with high linear load are more likely to be severely damaged by different types of cyclone. As Kolkata rebuilds its green cover, it must ensure that large canopy trees are not planted in small lanes. We must not have banyan or asoka with large canopy planted in small lanes, because if they get uprooted, vehicles, houses, roads, and property are severely damaged. Small trees like bokul and jarul are a better option in such places. Big trees are meant for parks and open spaces. 10 trees will have to be planted for every one full-grown uprooted tree to combat the oncoming environmental disaster, reported by Indian Express 24/5/2020. Exceptional city, that is Bhubaneswar, after the Fani cyclone of 2019, native species such as Pongamia pinnata and Alstonia scholaris, that is Chatim, were found to have withstand the ferocious wind speed of the cyclone in Bhubaneswar. These trees with minimal damage were protected to get back much of their lost cover after monsoon. This is actually Pongamia pinnata, Karanj, and it is Alstonia scholaris Chatim. And Rabindranath Tagore also called this plant name, that is Saptaporni. Native species such as Karanj, Chatim, Neem, Azadirect indica, Baheda, Terminaria varelari, Mango mangifera indica, and Arjuna, Tamarind Arjuna, trees withstand the high wind speed. These trees lost only 50% of their branches. These species should get priority when plantation would be undertaken in future. These are some pictures of though plant like Ficus bengalensis and Ficus religiosa survived Phonis fari, most of their branches were lost. Kadamba, that is Anthocephalus common Kadamba trees, suffered heavy loss in the cyclone, reported by the Hindu 25/2019. The most remarkable work by Kolkata municipality launches biggest operation to refix trees uprooted by Cyclone Amphan. A tree which was uprooted during Cyclone Amphan in Kolkata being refixed. Try to refix. Authorities in Kolkata have identified about 500 out of the 15,000 fallen trees that can be refixed. The exercise is on to identify more trees that can be slabs. In a race against time, Kolkata has embarked on its biggest ever exercise to save trees that were uprooted by Cyclone Amphan. Some of these trees, like the Adansonia digitata, Terogata alata, are more than a century old. Out of the 500 trees identified for refixing, more than 50 have already been refixed. But it's now a race against time, as the uprooted trees would not survive long and need to be fixed at the earliest. Meanwhile, they need to be taken care of. The trunk has to be kept wet with water so that the tree does not dry, and there should not be any water logging near the roots, as this could lead to fungus attack. The tree has to be strengthened up with cranes. A huge ditch has to be dug. The branches have to be trimmed before the tree can be refixed. Fungicide needs to be applied. The tree then need to be tied to adjacent trees or bamboo poles to hold it straight. The tree needs to be covered with jute cloth to prevent loss of transpiration. If new shoots start sprouting, manure has to be applied and it needs regular watering. The following guidelines may be followed. Number one, the policy of right place, right tree provide technical support towards intelligent greening of cities. Number two, the need for urban forestry is to be planned. An integrated and systematic approach to urban tree management should be stressed. Apart from residents, students from educational institution, we can say it is public awareness program also, and biodiversity related program. Educational institution in the neighborhood may be truly encouraged to play active role in the maintenance of the green space. Sen reported 2014 and 2016. Planning is important because trees are very often considered as an afterthought once development has taken place rather than being incorporated as original design phase. Number 6, an integrated approach implies the participation of many different organizations, local council, municipal and national planning bodies, departments, etc. Systematic management entails regulated tree management operation such as planting, pruning and felling must be conducted in an organized manner at the appropriate time. Performance-based initiative programs encourage competition and result in better output. Incorporation of Number 9, incorporation of preamble pavements such as gassed footpaths, greening of parking lots will help to decrease the proportion of paved areas, aid in storm water retention, and reduced surface heating. This is the few photographs for replantation of in Kolkata by the Municipal Corporation Kolkata. What has buoyed the efforts is that new twigs have already started sprouting in some of the trees that were fixed near Ravindra Sarovar, a national lake in South Calcutta, a week after the cyclone. More than 50 trees have already been fixed near the lake, and another 60 to 70 would be replanted in the next few days. Replanting each tree would cost about 15,000 to 20,000. Experts said that around 70% of the trees survive after replantation if the root condition is good and the replanted tree is taken care of. Now finally, my concluding remarks, armed with the knowledge of survived and damaged trees from past major cyclone along with the recent experience of the horrendous Amphan, Kolkata must rebuild her green covered to further continue her battle to sustainable urbanization. These are the sources I have taken: the Hindu, the Google, Times of India, the Telegraph, Hindustan Times, Down to Earth, Environmental News, etc. And lastly, I would like to acknowledge Professor Anuradha Ghosh, teacher in charge of Charuchandra College, Dr. Suparna Sen, the IQ cell coordinator, Charuchandra College, the joint convener, Dr. Sumon Das, and Dr. Rita Pal, Department of Botany, organizing committee's member, Dr. Chittaranjan Sen, Dr. Saurish Panda, Dr. Anshuman Saha, Dr. Sudip Kumar Rai, and Professor Madhumita Bishwas, Department of Computer Science, for her technical support. And special thanks to Dr. Sudipta Sen, Associate Professor, Department of Botany, Ashutosh College, Kolkata, for good publication during lockdown period. Dr. Saurabh Duwari and myself, a good book, Butterfly of West Bengal and Kolkata, for beautiful photographs. And lastly, Dr. Sanjukta Mondal Parui, HOD, Postgraduate Department of Zoology, Lady Brabourne College, for identification of these butterflies, because basically we are the botanists. So take help from any specialized, that is zoology or any zoological survey of India, and we'll be happy to take questions and save our Sundarban and our beautiful Kolkata, and again regain our green city, Kolkata. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your illuminating and thought-provoking and very informative lecture. Now, I would request Dr. Paul to share few selected questions from YouTube chat box for discussion. Dr. Paul, please share some questions. The first question. Sir, please.
What are the differences between true and false mangrove cell? Yes, very interesting questions. Mangrove have two types. The true mangroves are inhabited in the core zone and the core associated zone, and false means it is mangrove associated plants. Why it is called mangrove associated or false mangrove? Because this type of plants has no pneumatophore and no viviberry germination. You know that these two important and significant characters designate a mangrove plants. That's why I am indication that is false mangrove and true mangrove. Basically, they are true mangrove and mangrove associate plants. What are the ways to stop declination of mangrove ecological quality? There are so many characters for declination of mangrove. Particularly, number one, that is anthropogenic activity, and number two, different types of massive cyclone storms, and number three, ill maintenance of mangrove. Number four, the variation of salinity. Salinity varied depends upon the different types of storm dilute the salinity. That's why it will take 5 or 10 years for maintaining the salinity of any mangrove areas. That's why these are the main criteria for declination of mangrove. Why member of Malvaceae, Euphorbiaceae are less in West Bengal Sundarban area? Why they are dominant in Bangladesh Sundarban areas? Very good question, but it will take time for research work. Why these two families member are mainly in Bangladesh, not in West Bengal mangrove. But my opinion, my knowledge, my research, I can explain when the mangrove are two types: the old world mangroves and the new world mangroves. When the continental dips were happened, the splitting of these types of mangrove and the starting of mangroves is one of the reason for the distribution of these two families, basically in Bangladesh and in West Bengal. But it is actually the geographical demarcation. So less species belonging these two families are in Sundarban, and maximum number in Bangladesh. This is my observation and my opinion. Miyanki method of forest cultivation possible in coastal parts. How effective this method would be in such area? Would it help in regaining the mangrove diversity? Yes, why not? We know that I have already told mangrove plantation is not a matter of joke. Any terrestrial plantation is easy and sustainable. But in mangrove area, you can different types of methods we have to follow for plantation, and not only in plantation, you can care of all the plants. And first of all, we should select proper mangrove plants which will be sustainable or which will be not sustainable. Can mangrove self conserved in recent future? Can mangrove self? Yes, yes. Without mangrove, our Kolkata, you know that during tsunami also, these mangrove are covered entire Kolkata and adjoining areas. So role of mangrove and significance of mangrove is a huge role. So mangrove can if we keep taking care of mangrove, then we survive in even Kolkata also survive in a long run. Without mangrove, and it is a God gifted, and I have already told, in the world 65% mangrove are inhabited in India, that is Sundarban. So we are the lucky enough, even in Bangladesh also. Geometrics can be applied with the help of pneumatophores of mangrove to protect Sundarban soil erosion occurring due to any sort of natural calamity. How much it will become effective in the case? Very pertinent question and very intelligent questions. I know you are the botanist or environmentalist. Pneumatophores diversity. One lady research scholars are working under my guidance the pneumatophore diversity in Sundarban and in Bhitarkonika. You know that it is also important mangrove area in Odisha. So pneumatophores have a vital role for soil reclamation, soil anchoring. So we can, if we protect seriously of pneumatophore, then we can protect our Sundarban, even in Bhitarkonika, even in the Indians, all the mangrove areas. When I was I have visited in Melbourne 2011, Australia for attending International Botanical Congress ICBN. I have visited several places of Australia, Melbourne, mangrove area. And you know that this is a new world mangrove. And particularly in Australia, they are taken care of mangrove species for their different types of natural disaster, storm. And you know that Australia, in entire Australia covered with all the seabelt and have different types of mangroves, and we can call it is new world mangrove. So pneumatophores have massive role for soil acclimation and also soil purification, air purification, soil and the salinity also.
Sir, I think all those
I am
questions
trying my level
you
best,
mentioned
ma'am,
in the chat box, you already given.
but very interesting question.
Okay. Your presentation was very good, and all the information you shared already, those questions is irrelevant now. Now, over to
Thank you,
Shubham.
sir, and very informative lecture and discussion. We have got a lot
Great.
of questions from YouTube, but due to the time constraint, we cannot put all the questions. So, again, thank you again, sir.
Thank you to you also. Special thanks to you because you first taken this attempt, taken these challenges, this topic. It is a very tough and in this present scenario. And ma'am, Dr. Rita Pal also, and your entire faculty members and Dr. Suparna Sen, they giving me this opportunity to share my knowledge, my research with academicians, faculty members, students, research scholars in central Calcutta. Thanks to entire community.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. As a nature lover, we should try for our best to regain the vegetation and the plantation.
Yes, yes, yes.
Obviously, the mangroves.
We are the botanists, so we
Yes,
should try. And the one thing is the questions from different angles is a beautiful questions and they have a depth question, not a shallow question. All are from, I think, the background of botanist or environmentologist because this is a very deep questions on the mangrove level. So thanks entire academic community for questioning me an interesting questions. I am trying my level best to answer you. Thanking you.
thank you, sir.
Sir, Sir Deban Karmakar has arose one question and asked to give answer. Yeah.
High tidal in Sundarban. So despite low tidal area like Kolkata and other district can afford the survival of mangroves. High tidal belt in Sundarban. So desire, despite low tidal. No, no, no. Calcutta is not low tidal area. Calcutta situated near bank of Ganga, but tidal zone in Sundarban, low, high, middle, everything. So mangrove can protect Kolkata. We are the we are the beneficiary, and we are the very much thankful to mangrove, and thanks to God also such type of big area they are anchored soil and entire areas in a just like মায়ের কোলের মতন ধরে আছে আমাদের. So thanks to entire mangrove. So the question is in low tidal, high tide, or are in Sundarban, not in Kolkata. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. No more question, please. Our
Any
second
question
speaker
you
is
can
waiting.
share with
Over to
my
Sumanda.
email or any my so someone have my WhatsApp or any queries you can send me. Okay, I will try.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Now
Okay, okay.
uh,
Nice
it
to
is
meet you.
time. Okay, thank you. Now it is time for the second lecture. That is the last lecture of today's session, today's webinar, uh, from Dr. Basant Kumar Singh. Now let me introduce Dr. Basant Kumar Singh, our invited speaker for the last session. Dr. Basant Kumar Singh is botanical assistant and researcher of Indian Botanic Garden of Botanical Survey of India. After masters in botany and specialization in plant taxonomy, he completed his PhD on Nokrek Biosphere Reserve of Meghalaya. From he did his PhD from Bardhaman University. He is also the fellow of the highly acclaimed Linnean Society of London. He has undergone a training at the renowned Natural History Museum of London. He has published more than 20 research papers in different renowned peer reviewing journals. He is presently working on the ex situ conservation of RET plant species, including the mangroves. His topic is AJC Bose Indian Botanic Garden and ex situ conservation, a post-Amphan review. Over to Dr. Basant Singh, sir, for his deliberation.
Thank you, sir. First, good evening to all the participants, the delegates, and the resource person. First, I would like to thank to invite me in this important state level webinar because nowadays, due to this lockdown, the COVID-19, this webinar is a very common thing, and I think that this reduces lot of carbon footprint that we usually make organizing a traditional seminar, inviting people from all across the world or all across country. So it is the best way to organize a seminar through online mode. So a lot of people and number of researchers and number of interested scholars can join through the link. And the topic of this state level webinar is also very important in view of the recently faced Amphan, the urban and mangrove plantation, a post-Amphan introspection. And we got a lot of information from Professor Amal sir's presentation. A lot of things I was not knowing, I got the information from his lecture. Now, what Professor Amal sir told or where he ended, I want to start from that point only, because conservation of biodiversity is no doubt a very important thing. We are trying to conserve them in their natural habitat. We are trying to conserve them in different laboratories, in different gardens. So accordingly, I selected my topic for this session. So let me first share my So I selected the topic as AJC Bose Indian Botanic Garden and ex situ conservation, a post-Amphan review. Actually, this topic, yes,
Sir, you have to select the application window.
I have selected, sir.
Is it the application window, Dr. Paul?
Is it?
No, no, sir. It is not the application window. Just please stop sharing and again share.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
The middle window is the application window. Middle window.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, sir. Is it visible now? Suman sir, is it visible?
No, no, sir, not yet. Has the application window? Dr. Paul,
No, no.
go back to the solo format.
Okay, sir.
No, no, no. For Dr. Paul, please go back to the solo format. Yes. Please share again, sir.
Okay,
Share
sir.
again and the middle window.
Is it visible now?
No, you have to share it.
I have shared it.
Dr. Paul, can you see it?
It is showing that StreamYard.com is sharing a window like that. It is coming.
Now it is. Okay, now it is fine.
Let me try again. Is it coming?
Yes, sir. Just a moment. Now it is coming.
Yes, yes. Very good.
Should
Okay,
I
thank you,
continue?
sir. Yes, yes. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. So the topic is selected in such a way so we can highlight the need of conservation, because as just we have seen that how prone we are to a heavy cyclone, a super cyclone, and there are lots of casualties in terms of loss of biodiversity. So it is very important to conserve our biodiversity by the different way. So before going into the main topic, I just want to introduce about the botanic garden, because it is very much involved in ex situ conservation, and that is the main point, how we can conserve our biodiversity. So today I will talk about Acharya Jagdish Chandra Bose Indian Botanic Garden, which is considered one of the oldest and perhaps the biggest botanic garden of Southeast Asia, which is located on the west bank of River Hooghly and spreading over 273 acres, approximately equal to 110 hectares. And this garden is historically known for its many commercial plants that influence the socio-economic condition of India. I will definitely give some examples to clear how it has affected the socio-economic condition of our country. And third, this garden is a pioneer garden for ex situ conservation and plant research, and an abode of a variety of plant species introduced from all across the world. Now, if in a nutshell, we go into the history, brief history, because it is very important to understand the history, how the garden came into existence. So only we can know the present situation and the future of the garden. Actually, this garden was established long back in 1787, but the background was prepared long back, even before the 1787. And these were the main factors which lead to the establishment of this garden. The first most important was that during the 1769, 70s and 1784, Bengal experienced very serious famines, and East India Company was ruling the country. So it was their uttermost priority to prepare a garden, to establish a garden where they can grow some crop yielding plants, where they can improve the yield of a crop. So those plants can be used, the product can be used during kind of such famines. Second was that East India Company was taking interest in the floristic diversity of this country. And all this happened due to the detailed study by Reed, who joined as the governor of Dutch settlement in Malabar during 1667. And he worked on the floristic diversity of South India. And from his report, as well as the report from John Koenig, who was the first professional botanist under East India Company in 1780s, East India Company, especially the British government, took interest to explore the floristic diversity of this country. Third one was the Colonel Kidd, who played a key role in the establishment of this botanic garden. Though he was not a botanist and he was, by profession, he was an engineer and he was posted in Fort William, but he himself developed a small kitchen garden, or you can say a small garden, in his residence at Salimar, Howrah, just to increase the area, just to increase the scope of that garden. He sent two proposals. First one was forwarded by Warren Hastings and second one was forwarded by Lord Cornwallis. They were the Governor General of that time and they were quite influential person in the British government, and the proposal was very much supported by Sir Joseph Banks, who was in charge of the botanical establishment in England. And finally, on 6 July 1787, the proposal was approved and the garden was established in the west bank of River Hooghly. So as Colonel Kidd established this garden, so he was appointed as the honorary superintendent during 1787 to 1793. Unfortunately, he died in a very young age in 1793. That time the garden was named as East India Company Garden or Company Bagan because it was under the East India Company. Then the first superintendent of this garden, William Roxburgh, came, who was the superintendent during 1793 to 1814. And during this period, he made so many important changes, he made so many important contributions that shaped the present day study of botany in our country. He was the first person who studied thoroughly the flora of British India and published the entire thing. At the same time, he introduced a lot of important plants from all across the world and he introduced them in this botanic garden. For these significant contribution of William Roxburgh, he is honored as the father of Indian taxonomy, or you can say that was the turning point when the commercial scope of this garden was little bit turned towards the scientific goals, scientific achievements. By profession, William Roxburgh was a British surgeon, but he has immense interest in the plant diversity of this country, and he started his study in the garden. He established the first herbarium in his own residential complex, which is known as Roxburgh Building. After the departure of William Roxburgh, lot of important plant taxonomists, scientists, or the surgeons, most of them were surgeons, served this garden as a superintendent. Even after independence, we got lot of renowned taxonomists who became became the head of this botanic garden. And during their tenure, the garden got lot of good things, lot of turning points came, lot of achievements came. I just highlight few of them, like during the tenure of Nathaniel Wallich, the first engineering college, the first Bishop College in Calcutta was established in 1820, which was done after a donation of 40 acres land from the garden area. And during the Nathaniel Wallich period only, the first introduction of tea cultivation started in India, and that was experimented in this botanic garden. In 1857, during the superintendency of Thomas Thompson, the garden was transferred to the British government, and in 1858, the Company Bagan was renamed as Royal Botanic Garden because it was directly under the Crown. So East India Company was not there, so garden was renamed as Royal Botanic Garden. During the tenure of George King, in between 1871 to 1897, he designed the landscape. He artificially built 24 small lakes. All lakes are interconnected, and finally the connection is with River Hooghly through two sluice gates. The drainage pattern was like that. When there will be high tide in the River Hooghly, so the fresh water will come inside and recharge all the lakes. So there will be moisture in the garden because lot of plants from lot of habitats were introduced in this garden, and manually, practically it was not possible to water them manually. So it was a vision of George King, who dig out these 24 small and big lakes and interconnected them. During the tenure of David Prem, the entire garden, for the management purpose, it was divided into 25 divisions, and these divisions represent the different phytogeographical regions of the world. During the tenure of K.P. Biswas, who was the first Indian superintendent, during the period of 1937 to 1955, this Royal Botanic Garden was renamed as Indian Botanic Garden because the India got independence by that time. In 1963, the Indian Botanic Garden became a part of Botanical Survey of India, and its control was transferred from the provincial government, that is the state government, to the central government. And on 24th June 2009, the garden was finally renamed as Acharya Jagdish Chandra Bose Indian Botanic Garden after a renowned plant scientist from Bengal. So at present, the garden is known as Acharya Jagdish Chandra Bose Indian Botanic Garden. Now, as I told, that this garden has played a significant role in changing the socio-economic condition of our country, and these are some of the very important, economically important, significant introductions that took place in the history of the Botanic Garden. First, which is very important, the introduction of tea, which was done during the period of Nathaniel Wallich. First introduction was from the China, the Guangzhou area of China, because some 200 years back, the tea was not grown anywhere in any other country. China had the monopoly and they were exporting the tea to all the countries and earning lot of revenues. So British government wanted to break that monopoly and they selected India as a suitable site for tea cultivation. And first introductory tea cultivation started during the period of Roxburgh, during 1795 to 1814, and later the native tea species was discovered from Assam by Robert Bruce. It was used by the local tribal people during the 1823, and afterwards in 1834 Francis Jenkins made large-scale trial of tea cultivation in the garden. So today India is well known as a tea exporter country. The Assam tea, the Darjeeling tea is a world famous tea, but the first introduction of tea took place in the Botanic Garden. Similarly, the cinchona was introduced during the period of Thomas Anderson. It is a South American plant. At that time, India, the Britishers were mainly affected by the malaria, and they wanted to grow such a plant, such a herbal medicine that can cure malaria. So they introduced cinchona cultivation during 1861 in the Botanic Garden. But due to the conducive climate of the Howrah and Kolkata, it was not that much successful, and later it was transferred to the Nilgiris and Darjeeling Mamphu, the Mamphu area of Darjeeling, and there it was successfully cultivated. Similarly, the rubber cultivation was introduced during 1873, which was brought by Sir George King and introduced in this garden. And now India is also India is an exporting country for crude rubber, and lot of commercial level cultivations are going on in Northeast India and South India. Similarly, a high value timber yielding plant, mahogany, which is a native of West Indies, was also first time introduced during the tenure of William Roxburgh in 1795. And after the successful cultivation in the Botanic Garden, it was distributed throughout India, and now you will find as a good avenue tree growing all over our country. And in our garden, still we have a mahogany avenue which has trees of more than 200 years old historical avenue established during the tenure of William Roxburgh. Similarly, other important trees, interesting trees, beautiful ornamental trees were also introduced, like one Amarcia nobilis, which is known as Queens of Flowering Trees or Dancing Doll Tree, was introduced from Burma in 1826 by Nathaniel Wallich. This is considered one of the 10 most beautiful flowers in the world. During the month of January, February, you will find these trees in flowering condition. Then Alamanda bougainvillea was introduced by Hamilton during 1803. The garden croton was introduced by Smith in 1798. And Lodesia maldivica, another very interesting and highly threatened species, commonly known as double coconut, was introduced by Sir George King during 1874. And the Victoria amazonica, also known as giant water lily, in 1873. The Chinese rose was also introduced by William Roxburgh in 1794. Other than these plants, lot of economically important plants, spices, were introduced in this garden for the trial purpose, for the development of good variety, hybridization programs. So as a botanic garden, since very past, this garden has played a very significant role in introducing a lot of economically important plants in our country. So this is the map of the 273-acre area of the garden. You will find that there are altogether 25 divisions. As I told, these represents the different phytogeographical regions of the world. As you find in Division 1, there are plants from Vietnam, Malaya, Thailand. In Division 2, the plants from Australia. So accordingly, even from the Indian different states, you will find in the division number 14 plants from Maharashtra, Himachal Pradesh, Rajasthan, Gujarat. So you can see that the whole miniature world flora is there in the botanic garden. And during the British rule, there was a scope to introduce different plants from different countries. So they used that scope and they converted the entire 273-acre land into a miniature world flora. So in our garden, we are having a combination, we are having a collection of exotic as well as our indigenous native species. So at present, we are having more than 14,000 trees belonging to 1,377 species as per the last census, which was done in 2014, and hundreds, thousands herbaceous plants, which is also already documented in 25 divisions. And the special collections, we are having the special collections of germplasm collection of bamboos, bougainvilleas, citrus, jasmines, pandanus, water lilies, and other important trees, taxonomically important trees, and the threatened trees, the rare trees, the endemic species, and economically important species in our garden. So there are 4 objectives of any botanic garden, including this AJC Bose Indian Botanic Garden. The first important objective is conservation. The second one is the scientific research. Third one is education. And fourth one is display or amusement. That means used as a public place. So these are the 4 important objectives a botanic garden play. Because as I have to talk about the ex situ conservation, so it is very important to understand the other important objectives of a botanic garden. So if we talk about conservation, in the botanic garden, we mainly do the ex situ conservation. Ex situ conservation means when we conserve a species, plant species or animal species, outside their natural habitat. The concept of conservation is called ex situ conservation. And botanical garden is a classical example of ex situ conservation. The opposite term is in situ conservation, when we conserve a plant or animal species in their natural habitat, that is called in situ conservation. So in our botanic garden, it is the ex situ conservation. Now these are the major characteristics of a botanic garden. The first one is very important, the reasonable degree of permanence. That means a botanic garden has to run for a long time, because when we talk about conservation, it should be a permanent thing. It is not like that there is a botanic garden and later it becomes changed to some other concrete structure or some other for other purposes. So there will be no meaning of ex situ conservation. The second thing is that an underlying scientific basis for the collection, and this is the point that differs a botanic garden from an amusement park. Because in a botanic garden, whatever collection is made, whatever introduction is done, there is a scientific basis. Either they are rare in nature, or they are economically important, or they are taxonomically, morphologically important. So that is the scientific basis. But in case of parks, only the beauty is the most important part. Third one is the proper documentation of the collection, including the wild origin. Every botanic garden has a catalog, has their introduction register. There we maintain how many species we have, when they were introduced, all details are maintained. Then the monitoring of the plants in the collection, that is a routine process that we do. Adequate labeling of the plants. This is also very important thing. So whenever a visitor, whenever a researcher are coming, they can locate a plant, they can know the identity of the plant. So the labeling is also very important in case of a botanic garden. Then it should be open, because open to the public, because so the public can come, so the awareness part can be done. Then communication of information to other gardens. This collaboration should be there. And this AJC Bose Indian Botanic Garden now connected with all other botanic gardens in the world, major botanic gardens in the world. So that collaboration is very much needed. There should be the exchange of seed or other plant materials we can give to other botanic gardens. From there we can borrow some germplasm, borrow some plant materials. And there should be undertaking of scientific and technical research on plants in the collection. That is always going on, because in our garden we are having the Central National Herbarium, the another unit under Botanical Survey of India, and they are a pioneer organization in the plant research and maintenance of the research program in plant taxonomy in association with Herbaria. There are so many collaborative projects which is running in our garden with the other research institutions. So all these are the major characteristics of a botanic garden. So we can define a place into a botanic garden. Now some sections which are very much involved in different type of ex situ conservation, like this is a very important section we have called palmatum, a section dedicated for the collection of palms. This is our large palm house, which has a collection of more than 100 species of palm introduced from the other neighboring countries, as well as some indigenous palm, some endemic species we are having in this section. This is also palmatum, where we have some interesting palm like branched palm, Hyphena thabaica, introduced from Africa. This is Pineatum, a collection of different gymnosperm species. The term is used, Pineatum. In our garden, we are having more than 30 pine species or gymnosperm species. In 2 different Pineatum it is growing. So here you will find the plant species introduced from the eastern and western Himalayas. Now they are very much acclimatized in this climate, and now they are nicely growing. So we are just trying to multiply it. Here, this is a collection of cactus and succulents. We are having a separate section called glass house for growing different type of cactus and succulents. Then there is a medicinal plant garden. We call it Charak Udyan because this has the plants mostly mentioned in the Charak Samhita. More than 200 species are growing there, and this section is very much used for the student awareness program. Then there is a bamboo setum that has more than 30 species of bamboos, mostly the native species and some endemic species of our country. Then this is a newly developed rosarium. This year only, in the month of February, we inaugurated this rosarium, and this has a collection of 248 cultivars of rose varieties. Altogether 2700 plants are there. So this is a new section that we developed this year. Then there is an aromatic plant garden. It is also under construction because we wanted to introduce some economically important plants that has aromatic property, that has that aromatic oil. So awareness can be done and further research activities can be done with the plant materials. So now it is under construction. Now these are the ex situ conservation scenario that we did in the last 10 years. Altogether more than 900 species. These are the number, these figures are in mentioning the species. So more than 900 species we have introduced, collected from the different protected areas, national park, biosphere reserves, wildlife sanctuaries, into the garden. First, we put them in our nurseries for acclimatization. As I told that these plants are brought from different protected areas, different habitats. So they have to acclimatize in this climatic condition. After that, they will be planted in the different divisions as per the distribution. So these are the different this multiplication techniques, multiplication things with the plant materials is going on in our garden. These are the some rare, endangered, threatened and endemic species introduced recently, means in the last 10 years, like Asculus assamica is endemic to Assam, then Rhophaloblaste augusta, endemic to Nicobar Islands, then Diospirus marmorata, that is also endemic to Andaman. Mangifera andamanica, that is another endemic species of Andaman, the Nima andamanica. A lot of plants from different states are introduced in this garden. These are some more examples like Gymnema khandalensis, a highly medicinal plant, as well as threatened species which is endemic to Maharashtra, the Khandala district of Maharashtra. Then Corypha telliera, that is also considered extinct in wild type species. The germplasm conserved in this botanic garden. This Syzygium trambacodicum, that is endemic to Kerala and the other part of southern India. Then this Coccinum fenestratum, that is also a highly medicinal plant and endemic species. Then Kingodendron pinnatum, that is also an IUCN red listed plant. Insete superbum, this is called stone banana, which is endemic to the Western Ghat. And some 20 years back, it was introduced in botanic garden, and now it is nicely surviving. We are just propagating it with seeds and distributed to other research organizations also for introduction. And Humboldtia sanjaptai, this is also an IUCN red listed plant. Then Bentikia nicobarica, a palm endemic to Nicobar Islands. So like that, we are having lot of red listed plants, threatened categories plants, as well as economically important plants and endemic species. So it is very important to conserve them, because that is the original copy, you can say. Now the biotechnology has developed a lot. So in future, if there is some devastation like Amphan, what we have seen 2 months back, if that kind of devastation happens and if the species get extinct from its natural habitat, from its wild, so these true copy can help in propagate them, in multiply them. We are having the cloning technique, we are having the tissue culture technique. So applying those techniques, we can multiply them. So it is a place where we can conserve. That's why I called it is ex situ conservation strategies there. These are the some important IUCN red listed species that we have in our garden. This is called the double coconut palm, the only living species, living plant in our country which is conserved in this botanic garden. And this tree is very important from the conservation point of view, because this particular plant is considered under the threatened category. At the same time, it is endemic to the Seychelles Island. Now, this tree has 3 world records. The first important record is that it bears the heaviest seed known to science. As it is a member of coconut family, so I just compare it with the common coconut, the Cocos nucifera. The seed weigh around 25 to 30 kg. Just you imagine what the coconut that we use for the domestic purpose, for this cooking and for eating purpose, is hardly 500 to 1 kilogram in weight. But this double coconut weigh around 25 to 30 kg. That is a world record. Second is that among the different palm species, this tree survives for the longest period. The total lifespan is approximately 1000 to 1200 years. The third world record, among the palm, this bears the biggest leaf. A single leaf measures around 1 to 1.5 meter in diameter. So these are the 3 world records. Now there are 3 important characteristics of this plant. First, this plant is a dioecious species. Dioecious means the male plant is different, female is different. That means the male flowers are borne by different plant, female flowers are borne by the different plants. Second speciality of this plant is that the first flowering takes place approximately after 100 years. And the third speciality, we cannot determine the sex of this plant. Most of the plants doesn't have the sex chromosome, so the sex determination is not possible. So there is an interesting history about this tree, the introduction of this tree in the garden. This tree was first introduced in 1894. That time, the scientists were not knowing the sex of the plant. After 100 years, when it first flowered, then only they came to know that this is a female tree. So the challenge was that how to pollinate, because in India we don't have another tree or male tree. So we started searching in the neighboring countries. In Thailand, Numnoj Botanic Garden, and in Sri Lanka, Parademia Botanic Garden, we found male plants growing there, and they were fully mature. They were bearing the male flowers. Government level MOUs were signed. We contacted both the government, both the authorities of the botanic gardens. Both the botanic gardens provided the freshly collected pollen grain, and with those pollen grains, we started the artificial pollination program on this particular plant in our country. So the first flowering took place during 1994, and it took a lot of time for our scientists to pinpoint the exact timing of pollination. Finally, in 2012, pollination with the help of pollen grains received from the Numnoj Botanic Garden, Thailand, became successful, and we confirmed after when we found that the fruit size is started growing. So that was a time, it was a kind of a special achievement for Botanical Survey of India, for the Indian researchers, because this was the first time a transborder pollination was experimented. Transborder because pollen grains were collected from a different country, and a female tree, the female flower was pollinated in our country. So the term is transborder pollination or cross-border pollination. And in India, this was the first transborder pollination carried out in Indian Botanic Garden. It took 6 years' time to actually pinpoint with that pollen grain from 2006 to 2012, the exact timing of pollination. Now, there is another important characteristics of this plant, that the fruit takes 6 to 7 years time to get fully matured. So the 2013 it was finally pollinated. So in 2020 we got 2 mature fruits. So in the month of February, only just before
I think he got disconnected.
Sorry for the network issue. I have to contact him again.
Wait for 2 minutes. Let him join again.
Dr. Sen, madam, you may continue.
Hello. Has he been disconnected?
Probably some network issue. I am calling him. Please continue the session. Dr. Paul and Dr. Sen, please continue. I am calling him. Sir, you have a network.
Very, very interesting lecture. Hope he can come back.
The feedback link is already given in the chat box. So fill it very correctly. Let him come and join again.
It is probably a network issue from maybe from any side.
Yes.
Excellent.
Yes, sir.
Yes, welcome back, sir.
দেখতে পেয়েছেন? Is it visible? Okay, thank you. So again, I have to share my screen.
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry for
Very
the
interesting.
Your
middle screen,
please.
the PowerPoint screen.
Yes. Is it visible now?
No, the PowerPoint is not visible. Yes, now it is.
Yes.
Yes,
It is visible. So where it was disconnected? Can you please help me?
After the pollination, the seeds have been formed in 2020.
Two fruits.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Okay, sir. Two fruits we got in 2012. It started, and finally the maturity took place in 2020, and we harvested in the month of February 2 mature fruits. So now the next stage is to we are hopeful that in future we will get 2 male plants. But there is a twist in the story. There is a dormancy period of 10 years, and it will take another 2.5 years for germination. So altogether, after 13 years, the germination will start. And to know that whether it is a male plant or female plant, we have to wait another 100 years, because only after 100 years, when it will first flower, then only we came to know that whether it is a male or female. So this is a very important collection in our botanic garden. These are the fruits. You can see at the bottom, the seed, it looks like 2 coconuts fused together. That's why it is called double coconut. And the half cut portion of the fruit was used by the Sadhu Babas to make kamandals. And there was a myth that if you keep the seed in your house, it will bring some wealth. So earlier days, the Raja Maharajas, they were just giving equal amount of gold to the merchants who were providing seeds from the Seychelles Island or Maldives Islands. But very soon they realized that this is only a myth. It is only just taking their wealth. So the practice was discontinued. And this is that young growing fruit in 2012. Now it is totally mature. I can show you the photograph when it was harvested in February. So this was the bigger one. It was around 16 to 17 kilo in weight. So now we have just kept it in dark room to just protect it from any kind of infection for another 10 years.
Wow.
This is another interesting species we have in our garden, the giant water lily. This is one of the biggest lily in the world, scientifically known as Victoria amazonica or Victoria cruziana, 2 species we have in our garden. And this plant was also first time introduced in our garden during 1890s, during the tenure of George King, from the Amazon River. The leaf size is amazingly big, measuring around 1 to 1.5 meter in diameter, and it can support a weight of 70 kg. Just a couple of years back, I tried with my daughter sitting on this gigantic leaf. She was only 15 kilos in weight, but this leaf can hold a weight of 3 to 4 children like her. So this is also very important attraction of our garden. Now, other important plants, endemic species, this pitcher plant, Nepenthes khasiana, introduced from Meghalaya. Then the stone banana, as I told, this is endemic species of from Western Ghats. Now it is very much acclimatized in our Calcutta Howrah climate and nicely propagating. This is also a medicinally important plant. The fruits are used for the stomach ailments, stomach pain by the tribals in the Western Ghat, especially in Maharashtra and Kerala states. Then this is one gymnosperm, Taxodium disticum, the species. It's a kind of mangrove gymnosperm introduced from the South America some 100 years back. Perhaps this is also the only living plant we have in our country. This plant shows the adaptation of pneumatophores, and this is also a very important attraction of our garden. This is the dancing doll tree or the queens of flower, the Amarcia nobilis, which was introduced by Nathaniel Walich. So this is the flower, which is considered as one of the 10 most beautiful flower in the world. So through this ex situ conservation, we are conserving the different type of interesting species, economically important species. Now the Amphan, a very important turning point in the history of the botanic garden. Though this garden has faced a lot of cyclones in its history, as Amal sir mentioned, the cyclone in 1964, 1967. But this super cyclone Amphan was more devastating than any previous cyclone. When we referred the history of this garden, we found that the loss we faced during this cyclone, it was never recorded after any previous cyclones. So the total figure, consolidated figure, the damaged trees was approximately more than 1,000. The total number of trees totally uprooted was approximately 350, belonging to 195 species. So these are some representative photographs that is self-explanatory that how much devastating the Amphan was. This is the iconic tree, the Great Banyan tree, considered as one of the biggest tree in the world, the biggest canopy area it covers. The total canopy area is 4.6 acres or 1.6 hectares. So this tree in the northern part, there is a big hole. More than 44 prop roots are damaged. The big prop roots, mature prop roots are damaged. Now we are trying to replant them. We are trying to erect them as much as possible, though they are some old prop roots which are beyond repairable condition, but still we are trying the level based, and at the same time we are helping the newly coming prop roots to hold the ground, because that is a regular practice that we do throughout the year after year. This year we are mainly concentrating on the new prop roots because we have to fill the loss that this banyan tree has faced after the Amphan. This is another very important tree that was uprooted, the Kalpavriksha Adansonia digitata, and one of the very interesting tree that was very much liked by the visitors because there was a myth that this is also considered as wish tree. So whatever wish you have, if you touch and ask, that wish will be fulfilled. Though there is no scientific justification for that, but scientifically it is a proven fact that this tree has a lot of medicinal values. The tree has a lot of amino acid, lot of vitamins, lot of minerals. So as a nutritional supplement, it is very much used by the African tribals. This particular species belongs to Africa, the western part of Africa. The second medicinal importance is the flowers are used to cure the female infertility. And for these regions, the tree is very much worshipped, or you can say conserved by the tribals in Africa. And in India also, this tree was introduced by the Mughal traders some 600 to 700 years ago, 700 years back. And wherever the tree is growing in our country, the medicine man, the Ojha, they are just using the flowers, the bark, the leaf, the fruit for curing the different type of diseases. So here also the tree is very much important. In Allahabad, you will find a tree growing near the Sangam. In Bihar, in Muzaffarpur, there is a 600 years old tree, and there are temples near the tree, because the gigantic shape, it looks that it shows that this tree is somehow different from other neighboring trees. So people started worshipping this tree as a tree of heaven. So they have built temples and this kind of myth that whatever you ask to this tree is fulfilled, but there is no scientific ground except its medicinal value, its nutritional value. So in our garden, we had a century-old tree of this Kalpavriksha that was totally uprooted. You can see in the right bottom, this right corner, you can find that totally uprooted tree. This photograph was taken by drone, and this is the ground photograph. So this tree was uprooted during the Amphan, but today, just I want to share that today we have successfully erected, we have successfully restored this tree. I will show the photograph also. It was done today only, so I think in some newspapers tomorrow it will come. This is another important tree called mad tree. Amal sir also highlighted about this tree. All the leaves are of different shape and different size. So that is the interesting part of this tree, for which most of the school students, children and visitors are attracted towards this tree. But in Amphan, we lost this tree. Now we are trying to save it. We have already planted the newly developed saplings in our nursery, but still we want to revive this tree, this old tree. Now, just there is a comparison between some important avenues that we have in our garden. The left one represents the pre-Amphan scenario. Right one is the post-Amphan, where most of the trees are damaged. This is a very historical mahogany avenue established by William Roxburgh during 1795. Now, lot of trees, lot of mature mahogany trees are totally uprooted, and we are trying to replant them. This is the King's Avenue. Both sides, this Asoka tree, Polyalthia longifolias are growing. Now again, there is a mess of broken branches and uprooted trees. This is Roxburgh Avenue, a beautifully designed, planted Tababuya plants are there. And then a lot of trees have now fallen after Amphan, and now we have cleared this avenue. This is the Roastinia Avenue. Again, a lot of palm trees felt in this avenue also. So this Amphan has changed, you can say, the entire beauty of this garden. It has changed the biodiversity, what biodiversity we had. At the same time, it has damaged a lot of the plant species and the beauty of the garden. So these are the species that that are mostly damaged or uprooted during the Amphan. I have just listed few because the total number is more than 300. Mainly includes this Amarcia nobilis, Atarantia monophylla, Brownia, Chrysophyllum, also known as the Rasgulla tree, the Caropita guanensis, the cannonball tree. Then a lot of other species are there which are mostly either endemic or economically important or threatened species. So now we are trying to revive them as much as possible, or we will introduce some new saplings. We have the saplings in our nurseries. So these are some self-explanatory photographs of how devastating the Amphan was. These are some more photographs. We have already made a census that how much loss is there, and these are some aerial view of the damage happened in Amphan. Amphan, actually the wind direction was from north to south, as it was a cyclone. So in Botany Garden and Calcutta and Howrah area, this the Amphan hit the entire city from north to south. So most of the trees fell in that direction only, facing towards the south. Now these are some factors responsible for the mass destruction, because we tried to analyze the data, that the number of plants, the number of species, the way they were damaged. So what are the possible regions, the factors responsible for the destruction? The first one was definitely the excessive high wind speed, as it was more than 150 km/h speed was there. The second important factor was that the large canopy size, as Professor Amal sir also told that in case of the Calcutta also, most of the trees fell due to the large canopy size. In our botanic garden also, the trees are full grown trees are there, more than 100 years old. So canopy sizes are very big, and due to the big canopy size, there was insufficient wind corridor. If wind corridor is there, the cyclone air can easily pass and it will not damage the trees. But as the density of the canopy was very big, very dense canopies were there, and the wind direction was from north to south, it got little wind corridor to pass, unaffecting the trees of the garden. Most of the trees came into its way, and that's why it uprooted. The third important feature is that superficially distributed root system. Here there is an observation, as the garden is near to Ganges, near to the river Hooghly, so the water table is high. So most of the root system develops superficially. So there is a not deeply penetrating trap root system, because tap roots or deeply penetrated root system gives extra strength to the trees. But as the trees get water on the superficial surface only, surface of the ground, so they do not develop the deeply penetrated root system, and that is one of the very crucial reason why these trees totally uprooted in Amphan. Not only in Amphan, during Aila, during Bulbul also we lost few trees, but reason was the same. And fourth and the most important and interesting observation was that occurrence of stranglers on trees. As Professor Amal sir told that the lot of lianas are growing over the trees and that is making the canopy heavy. Not only the lianas, but in botany garden we found that lot of stranglers are growing. I just want to show you some photographs that these are the casualties. These are the uprooted trees what we got in our garden. You will find that lot of these stranglers, we call it primary hemiepiphytes, most of the members of Moraceae. So they are also a very important reason. If we try to understand it technically, whenever they are growing on other trees, they are simply destroying the center of gravity of that particular host species. Every tree try to maintain its center of gravity so it can stand straight. But whenever some epiphytic plant or this kind of stranglers are growing on a tree, it simply change its center of gravity. So in case of any cyclone, in case of any fast wind, the tree cannot hold the weight of the canopy, extra weight of the canopy in terms of these primary hemiepiphytes. So out of the 1,000 uprooted trees or damaged trees, more than 50% cases we found that somehow they are infected by this kind of epiphytes or stranglers. So that is also one of the very important reason of this kind of mass uprooting, mass destruction of the trees in this botany garden. And I found in Calcutta also, especially in the Maidan areas, lot of trees are very much infested by these primary hemiepiphytes, and that may be also a reason of their total uprooting. Now this is the post-Amphan restoration. Just after the day of this Amphan, 20th May, we started the restoration program. Because just time was passing very fast, so we have to run against the time. And with the reduced number of staff strength during this lockdown period, we tried our level best to just erect some of the very important and economically important tree species. And today we restored the Kalp Vriksha in our garden. So it all became possible with the help of Calcutta Metro Rail Corporation Limited, because in our neighborhood we didn't get any powerful crane. So they provided their crane, 40-ton crane, and the entire the program was executed today itself, and we have erected it. Now it is approximately 40 feet high. Earlier it was 60 feet high, but just to reduce the weight, we have to cut some upper portion of the tree. So it will survive because already the shoots started coming, and we have applied some fungicide also, some rooting hormones also. So we are hopeful that the visitors or the students who are interested to see this Kalpa Vriksha or have some wish, so in near future after this lockdown period, they can come to the garden and they can see, they can ask for the wish. Now there is a mangrove section, as the topic is the mangrove. So the botany garden is also having a lot of things to share about the mangroves. Now we are developing a mangrove section in our botany garden, and there is a background of this entire the project that I have undertaken. In the due course of field study, I found that some typical mangrove species which are supposed to grow in Sundarban area has somehow they have their extended distribution up to the Calcutta or Howrah, and they are growing in the vicinity of our botany garden. So initially we located 4 species of mangroves growing along the Ganges, along the riverfront area of the garden. And when we analyzed the habitat, the water quality, the soil quality, then we found that there is an increased salinity level, and that maybe that was the reason of the migration of these mangroves from Sundarban to Calcutta, which is somehow 120 kilometers away. So that is not a natural thing, but somehow earlier it was it looked like that somehow how it can migrate. But when we analyzed the water quality and the soil quality and the habitat analysis we did, then we came to conclusion that due to the increased salinity level, some of the mangrove species has naturally migrated from Sundarban to this Howrah area, because there is a water inundation, there is a periodical high tide, low tide. So during the high tide activities, lot of seeds, lot of propagules are coming from the Sundarban area and entering to the penetrating much deeper to this Howrah and Kolkata region. So from there, we conceived the idea to develop an entire mangrove section, the entire mangrove zone along the Ganges in the riverfront area of the garden. So the pilot project was initiated in 2019 when more than 2,100 mangrove saplings were planted. And in 2020, we have already started to introduce another 1,000 mangrove saplings that will be completed by the end of August. We are hopeful that by the end of August, we will complete the plantation of this another 1,000 mangrove saplings. So this is the area that we have earmarked for the mangrove zone. So there will be a complete mangrove patch along the river bank of the Botanic Garden. And the objective, these are the three main objectives for developing this mangrove section. First was definitely the ex situ conservation of important mangrove species. The second is to develop a section for education, awareness and research purpose. So a student can come, they can see how mangroves looks like, how the adaptation, especially for the school students. Researchers can get the plant materials. Okay, and for the common public also, there will be awareness for the conservation of these ecologically sensitive species or group of plants. And third is also very important objective, is the beautification and protection of the riverfront of the garden. Because if there will be a mangrove patch, there will be a lot of biodiversity and that kind of beautification will be done. And another is the protection of the river bank area, because we find that mangroves protect the coastal areas. So if we plant them along the garden, so somehow it will protect the river bank from erosion, from soil degradation. Now these are the mangrove associate species which are under conservation, under ex situ conservation in the Botanic Garden. That means it is already there in our garden. The main species are the Brugueria gymnorrhiza, Exocaria agalocha, Heritiera fomis, Heritiera littoralis, Heritiera macrophylla, Sonoraceae alba and Taxodium distichum. As I already told, this mangrove gymnosperm we have in our garden. And these are the species that we have introduced in last 2-3 years. This Brugueria cylindrica, Brugueria gymnorrhiza, Cereops decandra, Cereops tuggle, Exocaria agalocha, Heritiera fomis, Nipa fruticans, Rhizophora macronata, and Xylocarpus mecongensis. Actually, these species are selected as per the salinity level existing in this part of the river Hooghly. So these species are selected and they are responding very nicely. More than 50% survival rate is there of the last year's plantation. So we are hopeful that in future the student can see a full patch of Sundarban mangroves growing along the Botanic Garden. So this is an ambitious project that the IBG has taken. Now some challenges we are facing regarding this mangrove plantation program. Actually, a lot of pollution is there in our river Hooghly. Lot of plastic bottles, glass bottles, thermocols, medical wastes. Lot of things are floating in the river water. So when there is high tide, all these debris come inside this mangrove plantation zone, and with the low tide, most of them just settle on the newly planted growing mangrove saplings. So physically they are just giving some injuries, they are damaging the saplings, but still we are hopeful that even after such kind of damage, such kind of challenges, some of the plants, some of the species will survive, and that will solve our purpose. And second thing is that regularly there is the soil degradation is there, soil erosion is there, because on the another side of this river Hooghly, another side of Botanic Garden, the garden rich area, the Bichali Ghat area, there is total concretization is there. Bricks are used to make it solid. So this side is soil. So the total pressure of the high tide water is falling on the botany garden side. So regularly there is, you can see that soil erosion is there, chunk of soil just getting dissolved in the river water. So that is a kind of challenge, but still we are hopeful that in future we can have some good patch of mangrove growing along the Ganges. Now, as Suman sir had requested that in Amphan, what is the situation of Sundarban, though Professor Amal sir has already explained the situation. I have not visited after Amphan. I'm working in Sundarban area, but yet to visit after the Amphan. I have a research collaborator there in Sundarban, Sri Paritosh Giri, who shared some of the photograph because he lives in Sundarban, only in one of the island in Sundarbans. So he shared some of the pictures, some live pictures during the time of Amphan itself. So I'm just sharing few because Amal sir has already explained in details about the problem faced by Sundarban after Amphan. And these are the plantation activities which is already initiated after 5th June. A lot of NGOs, the villagers, the women help group, they are very much involved in the plantation program. So whatever loss is there in during Amphan, I think it can be retrieved. So with all these, with the hope that we can conserve the species for our near future, for the future generations, we can conserve the biodiversity. So in case of any cyclone like Amphan, if there is damage from the natural habitat, we can save the true copy, the original copy, or some form of germplasm in our botany garden. We are just very much engaged in the different type of ex situ conservation activities, in developing different type of sections. So in near future, definitely you will find different type of plant diversity in our garden. With that, I want to just finish my talk, and I want to thank Suman sir and Rita madam to give me this opportunity to participate in this state level webinar. And I must thank Dr. Suparna Sen madam to giving me the scope. Thank you, sir. If there is any question, you are welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Singh, for your enlightening speech along with audio-visual journey. And Dr. Paul, please share some questions.
First questions came from Falguni Bhattacharya madam. The question is, what are the scientific difference in between herbarium and arboretum? Madam, actually both are two different, entirely different concepts. Herbarium is collection of dried preserved specimens, so that is called herbarium, where we keep the preserved specimens in the form of pasted on a herbarium sheet. And arboretum is a collection of living plants, especially the tree species. Arborea, the arboretum, the term comes from arborea. Arbora means the trees, the woody plants. So that is a collection of living plants. In our garden also we have an arboretum that has mostly the tree species. That is arboretum, and herbarium is the preservation of dried species, which is done in our Central National Herbarium. The next question comes from Nasreen Parveen madam. It is, will it be possible ever to conserve mangrove in our AJCB garden? Yes, definitely, because ex situ conservation concept itself says that we have to conserve them outside their natural habitat. So whatever habitat we have in our garden, as I told that salinity level of river Hooghly is increasing, so we utilize that opportunity, though that is an alarming situation. Salinity of river Hooghly should not increase. It is increasing due to lot of some other physiographic factors are there. There is a less flow of fresh water in the river Hooghly. There is siltation. There is global warming, and climate change is also very much responsible, increasing in the sea level rise and increasing the salinity of the river Hooghly. So that is a different domain. But utilizing that opportunity to develop an entire mangrove section, and more than 50% species are positively responding and they are growing. So that is ex situ conservation. The third question comes from Ankita Sarkar madam. How they cultivated these plants without their own temperature? Yeah, that is very important, interesting question. Actually, here in our garden, we try to introduce the species from different protected areas. That is the first thing. But we select those protected areas matching the temperature and other environmental condition to this part of Howrah or Calcutta. Okay. At the same time, whenever we are introducing plant from their habitat, we are keeping them for acclimatization in our botanic, in our nursery. There we are having a temperature controlled conservatories, we are having greenhouses, we are having mist chambers. So there we can just modify the habit, that environmental condition also. Once they become acclimatized, then we transplant them to their natural, to their different divisions. So in that way, we are maintaining these different species in different divisions.
Any more question?
One more question, please. Just a minute.
Mr. Rajar Sirit has asked a question: is it possible to multiply double coconut plant using tissue culture method? Yeah, that is also a very important question that we faced a lot of times. Actually, the thing is that for tissue culture, we have to use mostly the meristematic tissue, the growing tissue, multiplying tissue. But in case of palm, as there is a only single tip, means apical meristem, especially in case of fruit. So we went with the normal this, artificial pollination method. Tissue culture we have not applied. Okay, but near future definitely we will try with other. Now we are trying with the artificial pollination, and we are some successful in getting two mature fruits.
All other questions came in the chat box. Sir already has covered those answers. So no more question is there.
Okay,
But
thank you, sir.
Thank you,
But
sir.
very worrisome pictures from the botanical garden, and we hope our when we would be able to go and witness the botanical garden again. We don't know. I
Actually,
hope that,
this year, sir, spring passed without the notice of any visitors, sir, because every year during the springtime we got lot of visitors because they come. They are the admirers of the dancing doll tree or the brownia plants. A lot of flowering trees are there, but this year due to this lockdown, the garden is totally closed for the visitors. So this time no admirers visited this garden, but we are hopeful that the situation will be normalized, and by this time we were having lot of students from different colleges and universities. But this year nobody has come, so in future definitely they will come.
yes, let's hope for the better in the near
Sir,
future. Uh,
yes, sir.
Anything from Dr. Mondal, sir? Sir, if you are, as you are there, anything to contribute from your side?
No, thank you for good lecture, Dr. Basant. It's a very nice
Thank you,
lecture.
sir.
And during lockdown situation, we can't visit your place. It is a beautiful place for
Yes, sir.
our what is a Mecca, Medina, or any our our any that is the peaceful place, that is botanical garden. Not only
Yes, sir.
garden, there's a beautiful herbarium also. So
Yes, sir.
thanks the organizer to both combination,
Yes, sir.
one lecture from entire Kolkata and mangrove situation, biodiversity, the latest condition, and on the other hand, that is Dr. Basant Kumar Sinha, from scientist of BSI, also a beautiful lecture, Post-Amphan effect of BSI or Acharya Jagadish Chandra Bose garden. There is devastating effect. I have already few slides in share few thoughts, few research, reports in my lecture also. So it is beautiful, and thanks to organizer again for organizing such type of most pertinent topic, not a common topic, that is either its biodiversity or its conservation or any botanical angle. It is a very pertinent on the biodiversity environment point of view. With related with biodiversity means both total plants and animals. We are from botany, but I am also delivered my few slides on the zoological angle also. So thanks to organizer, particularly Dr. Suman Das is a dynamic person, and Dr. Rita Pal, first time I met, and Dr. Suporna Sen is also dynamic person. So thanks to entire community, and thanks again Basant Kumar for.
Thank you, sir.
And one line I just add. One my friend from BSI previously, Dr. Lakshmi Narasimhan, has passed away
Yes.
due to COVID-19. So it is
Yes.
a sad news. I just sharing with my academicians. It's a sad news. He's a beautiful person,
Yes,
good
sir.
personality, and have a good human being.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Uh, Sorry to hear that news, but
Very sorry,
Yes,
very sad
ma'am.
to hear this news. But it was a wonderful lecture. Thanks to both of you, Professor Mondal and Professor Basant Singh. Very interesting lecture. And on behalf of Charuchandra College, I would like to thank all of you, especially Shumon and Rita, and also certain other people. I would like to mention Obhinabo and Momita for helping with the technical know-how. Uh, Professor Basant's lecture intrigued me very much because I am a historical person and history of botanical garden really fascinated me. It was very interesting, sir. Thanks to both of you. Thank
Thank you,
you very,
madam.
very much.
thank you,
Welcome.
madam. Now I will request Dr. Rita Paul, the joint convener, who has worked tirelessly for this webinar, to deliver the vote of thanks and the concluding remarks for this webinar.
Dr. Shane has already given the vote of thanks. I only extend my sincere thanks to our teacher in charge, Professor Anuradha Ghosh, and Dr. Suparna Sen, IQAC coordinator, for their encouragement. And obviously, the speakers that they discuss the topic very lucidly and lively and in an interesting way. So, thank you all, and dear participants. I must thank you because you showed interest in the topic and joined the webinar. So thank you all. All the
I would
dear
like
participants, please excuse us for the technical disturbances faced by you during the session. Link of the feedback form is given in chat box. Please fill it up correctly as all the information provided by you will be used in the auto-generated e-certificate. Thus, no manual correction could be made. So be very careful. Thank you all and good
one
night.
request to Dr. Das. If possible, please share your video link, both Dr. Singh and myself also, which will be used as a repository for our student also.
Okay,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
I will try. Okay. Thank you,
Bye
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank you.
everyone.
Thank you. Sir. Good
It's a
night.
Good
very
evening,
interesting.
good
Good
night.
night.
All of you.
Good night, sir.
Namaskar.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night. Good night.